Okay, so the last one was turning out to be a little bit dull, but you know what? It did its purpose for being tested. So now this next one's manual only. Now I say manual only, but really it's just rockets only. So same general startup as before. Actually, gonna need a little bit more money for this one, so gonna be going a slightly different route. Same reverse joints as before. Actually needed to sell the FCS. Really all that's needed for this startup here. Need to have a little bit more range than you start with. This one's fine. Actually, I'll probably get back the radar to make it a little bit easier. Maybe a better radar? Why not? So yeah, this'll work. So I'm going to be starting off with this. Basically, if you get, I think it's something like every 4 seconds or so. So I'm gonna start counting as soon as this is done, as far as manual only. Because for setup's sake, honestly, I would say it just takes longer. So I'm gonna say the challenge starts as soon as I hop into the arena, or hop into any of the missions. Got a radar and forgot to stick the stupid thing on. From what I've been able to tell, exact accuracy doesn't matter as much as how many things you actually shoot. In the remake, at least. Kind of being a little bit spastic here. So hopefully that'll be good enough. I guess we'll see in a moment. Okay, that should do it. Yep, there it is. And you get the volors from that. So now we can start the challenge properly. So I'll stick with the reverse joint setup for now. So you can't have anything when it locks on. Can go back to the standard FCS. Certainly won't be needing anything better. We got back rockets and front rockets, of course. Which I probably should have started with this. My setup for this when I did it last time was this, depending on the circumstances, and one of these. And then the rockets on each arm. Actually, for now, I'm not going to pop one of these off, so we really don't need that many. Of course, the irony of this one is it's a lot more difficult at the very start. These early guys don't move nearly as much, and a lot of being able to actually hit people with this nonsense involves not so much accurately shooting at them from where you are. Like, even stationary objects are kind of a pain to hit with these things, but just kind of overcompensating with the arc there. notice my midsection disappeared. So that's another visual glitch. Okay, let's do this guy next. And again, most of them will be in the arena because of the few extra shots you get. And yeah, one obvious thing when it comes to Satellite and 3 is they don't really move much at the very start of the fight. Most of the time they'll just charge to get closer. So you can usually get a few shots, which is especially awesome when you have the large rockets. Yeah, not much to say. At the beginning it is about the same. Actually, I'll get more of the setup put together. So, for this build, I like to have the heavier reverse joints, since obviously you're going to need to do more moving around and all that. It's good to have the extra energy from just sticking to the reverse. Not to mention these ones are good as far as load goes. It's just efficient mostly. Then I'll be needing to upgrade the what am I looking for? The thing. The thingamajig. What was I gonna say? I completely forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I was gonna be needing to upgrade the head next. Unfortunately, can't really spare a slot for a radar with the setup. Oh, well, I say unfortunately, but honestly, I almost never use them anyway. Honestly, there isn't even much of a point to use them until LR. And even then, you'd be okay with the stick head. The one downside, well, actually one of many downsides, to this run is there's kind of a fair few acceptable failures as far as the missions go. Just because, well, you know, things like jets and whatnot are kind of a pain. I think sometimes when there's things that are just too far away. But not as many as, say a blade-only run. And I was just showing there, basically they'll just run at you. And it seems like the farther you go in the arena, the longer range they have, so I think they expected them to do that. Like when you get up to Ace by the end of it, he basically just veers off to the right, flies up, and then goes to the left. And the only way to actually get those cheapo shots at the beginning are basically to get two hooks going, you know, slightly to the right. It's like, honestly, it was kind of like a muscle memory thing by the time, I think, like the 50th attempt at that guy. It was basically going towards the right, you know, getting one out of the air and then getting another one when he landed. And then from there, just basically just dodging and dodging and dodging around his right side. So what's interesting is you can actually turn on the enemy data and things like that. And even though you can't lock on, which is how it usually works, as soon as you hit something, it does trigger. So you can still use it in case it's needed. Again, since it's manual fire only, it's better to have more of the screen available. And yeah, I think after this guy it'll be time to start popping on the other rocket launcher. When I was doing this, also the first time through, it seemed more interesting to do it with a howitzer in the left hand. Actually, I'd completely forgotten there was a rocket in the left hand in this, so I just did manual only. And truth be told, the rockets are better, just because they fly forward instead of in a weird arc. So it made for kind of an interesting thing where basically I had to stay at this range at all times. It was just more difficult than it needed to be. So I think this will be much smoother. So the two arenas I'll be switching back and forth will be the arena and the reservoir, depending on the color scheme that they have. Because some of them, like the darker colored ones, are really difficult to see in this one sometimes. Some of the other schemes are harder to see when there's water around, but that's kind of the main deal there. The desert will be avoided almost entirely, with one exception. That's sure as hell wasn't Cyprus. Actually, I don't remember which one I had to use the desert for. I'll remember when I get to it. Some of them, some of the later AIs, you can get into kind of a constant boosting loop, so you can just basically go and keep firing like that. But generally I like to stick to one hop, one shot. Sorry, had a text real quick. Okay, back to this. Actually, the hardest part of this entire run is, as usual, Royal Nest. Actually, with him, I ended up switching to the structure for one part. And also on second part, I think I'll just be selling that second small rocket launcher. Just probably upgrade to the big one right away. Rather, to be more precise, going to be selling the one on the right side and switching over to the one on the left. Which is this thing? 107. Oh well, at least I'll update the head. Now for this one, I like using this head. It's a bit more tanky. So now it's all of the basic stuff that the other one has. And left-hand rockets aren't available just yet, so those will be coming later.
Combat system engaged.
Although somebody actually needs to drop the plan for this.
Raven.
So for parts like this, I prefer to just walk, and that's part of the idea behind the tanky build. Because when they're stationary, it's a lot more of an annoyance to hit them.
That's all of them. Let's head out.
There's no doors to this place. Or is that a door? Yeah, I guess that's a door. Close enough. Doesn't look like much of a door. This one, I'm gonna get one of these guys. Because it's annoying to hit the little guys.
Destroy all forces occupying the facility.
As you can pretty much see, because the camera controls are kind of awkward, I like to just keep everything on the starting level here. Most things can be hit from there. It's just fewer complications. I figure it would be easier to, well, slightly easier. Probably start off with tri-rockets here. Sella, you missed one. Okay. Just drive right past them, I guess. And they're probably gonna die anyway. Yeah, all in all, they were not that helpful, actually. I don't know where she went. So I don't think anybody's AI is actually working right now. At least not until I got close. Yeah, she's just running back and forth. As I miss every single shot. Well, like I said, because of how fidgety everything is, and since it's obviously built to a system with lock-on, there's going to be a lot of that. Just completely missing stationary things while somehow hitting something going, pretty dang fast. I think the average for this one was like 340 miles an hour or something, according to the whatchamacallit speedometer.
Combat system disengaged.
Good thing about rockets, though, is you can basically match the speed of a lot of things.
Information has
rather than trying to outspeed them. So you can basically just out-damage most things.
Engaged.
There are more than we expected. Be careful.
Yeah, this time guiders might be necessary. And the eventual build here, like after ammo doesn't become much of a thing, because once you have right and left hand rockets, you usually have enough to not need the small ones anymore. You can just switch to kind of mediums on each hand, medium on the back, heavy on the back, and napalm. Oh, come on. You little bastards.
Looks like you could use a hand.
For once, that's accurate.
AC Guernica identified.
Now that I figured out how to aim. Quite a tall arena. Actually, to this day, I still don't understand why they're attacking an arena. So what are you gonna do? The place has been probably blown up on a daily basis for years anyway. You're basically just kind of being a dick to the janitorial staff. I would figure they would just have some kind of scrapyard employees for that, actually. I'm not even sure if that still counts as a janitor. Oh, whatever. Should some of these little wily looking bastards probably just come out and clean everything.
Impressive, Ray. Perhaps we'll work together again.
Maybe. Probably never.
Mission complete. Combat system disengaged.
Gonna be going a little bit of a different route with the missions this time around. Actually, one where he might be a little bit more useful. As you can see, those things cost a lot, and tends not to be so nice on the record books.
Raven, get...
Combat system engaged.
Raven, clear a path for me.
This one was pretty much designed for this setup, with one annoying floaty exception. And this setup will be getting faster later. Not sure why there's so much debris in there. I think they actually do explain why there's so much debris, but it's really in severe disrepair. There's a friend over there. And now's the part where we stare out of a window and Mech does a little jig until he gets where he's going. So, he's way down there still. Any second now. Or it won't. Okay, then. And there goes the thing driving by. I guess it's... oh, there it goes. Now it's gonna start doing the robot.
We'll take over from here.
Just noticed
Good
there's
job,
sound effects for
Raven.
that and everything. Doing like a little ch sound for
safe.
each thing. It's actually weird, even though I've been
Combat system
playing the
disengaged.
third one since I was a little kid, since I was playing the portable one since, well, pretty much since the day it came out. Still noticing little details all over the place somehow. Yeah, I might want to do that one just for the part. Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to do it with hand only. Actually, what weighs less? Yeah, that thing weighs less, so I'm gonna do it with the back only. And probably get lighter arms in the process. Let me swap over those. Let me pick up this guy. And can't quite get that, but should be good. Shouldn't have any embarrassing plummeting to the death problems like last time.
A Raven. I guess.
Combat system
Yes, they
engaged.
sent a parakeet.
There isn't much room to maneuver. Watch
There's
your
plenty of room to maneuver. There we go.
AC part required.
Still think that's my favorite hidden part, just because of the way it's hidden. It's like one of those nice little details where if you just look slightly backwards, it's there. It's not like they visually hide it too much. Still sounds like they have diesel-powered stuff in the future. Okay, and here's what I was talking about earlier.
Mission complete. Combat system
You just
disengaged.
fall out of the void. Unfortunately, they changed the triggers by Silent Line, so you actually have to have your feet firmly planted somewhere.